This is insane, so brace yourself. While you've been hopefully enjoying some freedom and some fresh air, over in Melbourne, Australia, they've been through count them, six lockdowns, 233 days in lockdown. Let's take a peek and see how that's going right now. Oh my God! Pandemonium. You see the standoff in the street here between the officers on the right and all of these lockdown protesters on the left, and a lot of pepper spray being fired back and forth here. Absolutely wild footage. As you can see, these folks are not happy. We are just getting started today. There's some unbelievable footage. I'm going to tell you for those 233 days of lockdowns what the rules have been for the most part for these folks in Melbourne and what they currently are right now. But there's a lot of footage that shows how upset people are. Big group going down the street here. We will not comply, they're saying. Huge group of officers on the move there, headed in another direction, and I could go on for days with this. I'll go to what the rules are in Melbourne right now, but they are, needless to say, very angry.
You serve us! You serve us! You serve us! You serve us! You serve us!
Where do you want us to peacefully protest?
We
cannot go back or forward. Where are we allowed to peacefully protest?
Wow. A lot of similarities between when you see these protests in the U.S. and when you see them over in Australia, including the Gadsden flag. Lockdown 1 for them started way back in March of last year and went for 43 days. Lockdown 2 was 111 days long. I want you to imagine yourself in this situation as you're able to probably roam pretty much freely wherever you are. Let me know what you would do if you were for 111 days in one particular lockdown to try to keep things at this zero level that is never going to be sustainable. Lockdown 3 was only 5 days long. Lockdown 4, 14 days. Lockdown 5, 12 days. Lockdown 6, this is dated because this is from last month. It's actually 233 days total as we've cruised 33 days past the date of this article. And in Victoria, the rules, well, there are lots of them. Masks must be carried at all times and worn both indoors and outdoors. You can only leave home for 5 reasons, including shopping for necessary goods, caregiving and compassionate reasons, authorized work or permitted education or work interstate. Everybody's permitted to socialize with one other person outdoors for up to 4 hours. Those who are fully vaccinated can meet up outdoors with other fully vaccinated adults in groups of 5. Even if you're fully vaccinated, those are the rules. And you can go outside if you're getting the vaccine, they say. On and on this goes in every category that you can imagine. You cannot leave more than, I think, 10 kilometers outside your house in some areas. In regional Victoria, though, it looks like there are no restrictions on movement. It's just absolutely restrictive and tight in so many ways. Some of them are angry about rules suggesting that they can't have barbecues, so these guys did a protest for that.
Staging a smoko sit-in.
This is a bullshit.
against the government calling time on their tea rooms.
Well, they want to ban the lunchrooms. We have lunch in the middle of the street.
Hundreds of tradies determined they've been dealt a raw deal.
Have a look around you. We built the joint, yeah? We built this joint, yeah?
Blockading intersections and marching the streets, bringing chairs, tables and lunch supplies along for the ride.
So basically they said you can't have lunch, you can't have a get-together in Melbourne, and they said, F off, we're going to do it anyways, and had a cookout right in the middle of the street to have a protest. There is much more to go into. Here's some of the police movement in the area. There's somebody getting arrested right over there. Watch this, just one moment. Watch this guy. And he's done. All over the place, the cops chased these folks down and arrested them. I mean, I'm not even sure what they were going to charge that guy with right there, but the wall of police was met with a wall of resistance from these folks in Melbourne. They were able to penetrate this barrier, even though that capsaicin, as they said, or pepper spray, is flying absolutely everywhere. You can see how much is on just this one person right here. It's pretty wild. That seems to be their main weapon against these folks, is the pepper spray. And this is the Commander Mark Galeatis, who was responding to what happened in Victoria. This is from the law enforcement perspective to get the other side of the dime.
So what we saw today was a group of protesters that came together not to protest freedoms, but simply to take on and have a fight with the police. That's what we saw, were angry, aggressive young males there to fight the police, not to protest about freedom. So thank you, and I'll take any questions.
There he goes. He says it's just a bunch of angry males and it wasn't about freedom at all. Stories like this all over the place in Australia today. Anti-lockdown protesters clash in inner Melbourne with small gatherings in Sydney, Brisbane, and Byron Bay as it spread across the country. Hundreds of protesters starting off at about noon on Saturday, ignoring pleas for them all to stay home. They said several arrests were made and protesters risk a $5,500 fine for breaching public health orders. Of the people injured by the violence, 235 people were arrested. 193 of them were linked to breaching the chief health officer's directions. So almost 200 people went to prison, went to jail at least, for breaching the chief health officer's directions. Other alleged offenses including assaulting police and riotous behavior, as well as weapons and drug charges. In total, 10 cops were injured. Those police officers, of them, 6 were taken to the hospital. 3 of them are still being treated. The injuries include torn muscles, a broken elbow, a broken nose, and a broken finger. That is what they were looking at as far as damage goes. But just complete and utter chaos in Melbourne. So if you are in Australia and seeing this, let me know what the situation is like there. I'm interested to get your take. For everybody else, what do you think? Is there a breaking point here? 6 lockdowns, 233 days in lockdown. Everybody's got to have a limit. What's Australia to do next? Hit that share button if you enjoyed this video and want to help spread the word. I greatly appreciate that. If you're new around here at facebook.com/thenewsjunkie, hit that follow button right now and you get videos just like this each and every day. Over at youtube.com/thenewsjunkie, hit subscribe. Thank you to all my supporters, as per usual, for paying a little extra to keep these videos coming. It is very, very helpful, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your comments as well, and you watching. We'll talk to you again real soon.